នាងខ្ញុំមានកិត្តិយសសូមគោរពអញ្ជើញលោក Alfredo Pérez de Armiñán អគ្គនាយករងអង្គការ UNESCO អញ្ជើញថ្លែងសន្ទរកថា
May I invite Mr. Alfredo Pérez de Armiñán, Assistant Director General for Culture, UNESCO, to deliver remarks.
Your Excellency, Mr. Prime Minister of the Kingdom of Cambodia, Mr. Secretary General of the United Nations World Tourism Organization, Your Majesty King Simeon II, former Prime Minister of Bulgaria, Your Royal Highness Prince Sultan bin Salman bin Abdulaziz, honorable ministers, distinguished guests. On behalf of UNESCO's Director General, who regretfully was unable to join us today due to unforeseen and unavoidable circumstances, I'm truly delighted to participate in this ceremony, inaugurating the first World Conference on Tourism and Culture, building a new partnership. And now allow me to present, first of all, a video message from the Director General of UNESCO, Mrs. Irina Bokova, who also sends to all of you her warmest regards, regretting deeply, as I said, not being able to be present in this ceremony as she wished to. I know there is a video message coming from the Director General. If there is no video, I will continue. Allow me to extend a warm welcome to the over 1,000 participants who have come from the four corners of the globe to Siem Reap for this occasion. We are very fortunate to have among us so many distinguished ministers and deputy ministers, as well as scores of leading experts and specialists in diverse fields linked to tourism and culture. UNESCO is honored to co-host this groundbreaking event with the United Nations World Tourism Organization and the government of Cambodia. I would like to take this opportunity to reiterate our sincere gratitude for making this event possible, and particularly for the commitment to this success to Dr. Rifai and the UNWTO and the Cambodian government, especially Your Excellency the Prime Minister and the Deputy Prime Minister, as well as the Minister of Culture and Tourism. It is very fitting that this first World Conference on Tourism and Culture is taking place in Cambodia, a country with immense cultural heritage and home to the iconic World Heritage Site and core tour. UNESCO has been working closely with our sister United Nations agency, UNWTO, for many decades to ensure a sustainable approach to heritage management and tourism in terms of safeguarding, preservation and promotion. This annual conference demonstrates our commitment to following these honors on the basis of shared values and common objectives, and the reinforced cooperation between our organizations within the United Nations system. We are proud of our shared achievements, and we remain committed to consolidating our efforts to promote sustainable tourism and address the new challenges to the protecting natural and cultural heritage in the years to come. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, we are here today to create a new and sustainable partnership between culture and tourism. UNESCO is deeply committed to strengthening the links between these two concepts. Our goal is to create a positive dynamic between the two, a dynamic that is mutually reinforced, that promotes sustainability while benefiting local communities. Our starting point is to safeguard culture in its diverse manifestations, ranging from monuments, historical sites and cities, and works of art, to living heritage and contemporary expressions, encompassing traditions, festivals, and the performing arts. To carry out this crucial task, we have developed a set of international standard-setting instruments in the field of culture, including the famous World Heritage Convention of 1972, the Convention for the Safeguarding of the Underwater Cultural Heritage 2001, the Convention for the Safeguarding of the Intangible Cultural Heritage of 2003, and the Convention of the Promotion and Protection of the Diversity of Cultural Expressions of 2001. UNESCO's message is very clear. Culture is who we are, and is who will also be. It shapes our identity and fulfills spirit, and is a means to foster respect and understanding among people in times of conflict. Culture has proven effective in fostering reconciliation and providing a much-needed sense of continuity and hope in better times. It is also a way to create millions of jobs and improve people's lives. This is why safeguarding cultural heritage and promoting cultural creativity must advance hand in hand with sustainable tourism. This has never been so critical at this time to change. When countries are shaping a new post-2015 global development agenda, UNESCO sees culture as a force to widen the pathways of development in ways that are more inclusive, more sustainable, by building on people's aspirations and shared values. UNESCO stands prepared to continue working globally to strengthen cooperation with governments and to reinforce its partnership with civil society and the private sector. Sustainable development cannot be crafted solely through economic and political strategies. It must be built on sustainable and inclusive societies. Culture stands at the heart of this vision as a force for dialogue, social cohesion, creativity, dignity, and participation. This is the vision we are bringing to the process of shaping the post-2015 Sustainable Development Agenda. We achieved a significant and again in December of last year. The resolution clearly states that culture is both an enabler and driver of sustainable development, and further spells out culture's potential contribution to sustainable cities and production and consumption patterns, which provide a blueprint for our work on sustainable tourism, linked especially to the protection of cultural and natural world heritage. Culture is also a primary resource for economic growth, employment and social cohesion, offering the potential to renew urban and rural areas and promote sustainable tourism. This vision is reflected in the Florence Declaration, which was approved by the 400 participants of UNESCO's Third World Forum on Culture and Cultural Industries, which took place in October last year. This declaration advocates the integration of culture in the post-2015 development agenda, which the United Nations General Assembly is scheduled to adopt in the autumn of 2015. To succeed in this critical endeavor, we need to show concretely how culture can be integrated in development strategies with specific targets and indicators for poverty eradication, for education, for the environment, for sustainable cities, for inclusion and reconciliation. Creating the synergies between culture and tourism is now more crucial than ever. For UNESCO, this translates to a new approach to tourism based on dialogue and stakeholder cooperation, where planning for tourism and heritage management is integrated at a destination level. The natural and cultural assets are valued and protected, and appropriate tourism developed. We commend UNWTO on its report highlighting the need for effective policies, guidelines and regulations for promoting sustainable tourism, including ecotourism. We also welcome the most recent United Nations General Assembly resolution recognizing the contribution of sustainable tourism to poverty eradication, community development, and the protection of biodiversity. To achieve this, UNESCO is developing an analytical framework and policy guidance for sustainable tourism development at World Heritage Sites, which will be presented to the next World Heritage Committee session in Bonn in July, and form the basis of our contribution to the resolution. We look forward to pursuing our close collaboration with UNWTO and our sister United Nations agencies to achieve this critical goal. We trust that the declaration that emerges from this first World Conference on Tourism and Culture will serve to consolidate and disseminate this clear vision. In closing, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to reiterate UNESCO's commitment to working with you as we explore the synergies between culture and tourism toward a more sustainable future. I wish you fruitful debates and thank you for your attention.
Some Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have a 3-minute video presentation.
Mr. Simeon Busacku-Burgoto, former Prime Minister of Bulgaria, Excellencies, Ministers, ladies and gentlemen. I am pleased to welcome you to the World Conference on Tourism and Culture. I can hardly think of a more fitting place for this than Cambodia, than the city of Siem Reap, gateway to the magnificent Angkor Wat, one of the jewels on the World Heritage List. UNESCO is deeply committed to strengthening the links between culture and tourism. Our goal is to create a positive dynamic between the two, a dynamic that is mutually reinforcing, that works for sustainability and for the benefit of local communities. This is a means to foster respect and tolerance, a path to mutual understanding. It is also the way to create millions of jobs, to improve people's lives. Tourism stands at the forefront of the global fight against the illicit trafficking of cultural objects. Every day, a statue is stolen or damaged in the surroundings of Angkor. Stolen objects appear on the internet or in fancy boutiques, sometimes wrapped in romantic narratives. This is the dark side of globalization, and this plague thrives because there is a market for it. Tourism can be a blessing. It shouldn't be a curse. Travelers are easy targets, often unaware of the importance of checking the provenance of the cultural artifacts they purchase. This is why UNESCO, the World Tourism Organization, and the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime launched an anti-trafficking campaign with a message that is very simple: travel, do not traffic. Every tourist must be a custodian of world heritage, an ambassador of intercultural dialogue, a protector of cultural objects. This is the spirit of UNESCO's effort to implement the 1970 Convention on the ban on the illicit trafficking of objects of art. This is why safeguarding cultural heritage must move forward with sustainable tourism, and I see this as the core message of this World Conference on Tourism and Culture. This vision guides our efforts to promote culture as a driver and as an enabler of sustainable development. This has never been so important at this time of change, when countries are shaping a new global sustainable development agenda to follow 2015. I wish to thank each of you for your commitment to taking this message forward, and I wish all of you a very successful event.
Taleb Rifai អគ្គលេខាធិការអង្គការទេសចរពិភពលោកអញ្ជើញថ្លែងសន្ទរកថាសូមគោរពអញ្ជើញ
I have the honor to invite His Excellency Taleb Rifai, Secretary General, UNWTO, to deliver remarks.
Excellency, Prime Minister Hun Sen, your presence here this morning is a clear and strong message to the government of the Kingdom of Cambodia's commitment to the cause of culture, tourism, and the belief in the importance of these two sectors in the development course of any nation. Thank you for being with us this morning. We really, truly are honored. Deputy Prime Minister, thank you for all your efforts. Minister Tung Kon, you're a good friend and a true doer. Thank you very much. Minister Sakona, you're a good partner to us. We look forward for our future collaboration. Our honored guest, Prince Sultan bin Salman bin Abdulaziz, thank you for honoring us with your presence. Majesty King Simeon, Your presence here today is a true manifestation of your personal dedication to the cause of good human well-being in this world. My very good partner, Honorable Edmund Ho, thank you so much for joining us this morning. And our partners in UNESCO, Alfredo, Armiñán, thank you for partnering with us. Honorable Ministers, ladies and gentlemen, dear delegates, Arun Susde. On the behalf of the World Tourism Organization, the United Nations Specialized Agency for Tourism, it is my great, great pleasure to welcome you all to the first UNWTO UNESCO World Conference on Tourism and Culture, building a new partnership. Mr. Prime Minister, let me begin by thanking you and through you all the wonderful people of Cambodia, the wonderful women and men that have served us and dedicated their time to make this meeting a success even before it started. Mr. Prime Minister, I remember very vividly my last visit 3 years ago to the Kingdom of Cambodia, meeting with you. You were full of hope and optimism, and you have every reason to believe so. The country has come a long way, a country that has come out of the sufferings and the challenges of wars and devastation, is a wonderful example of how tourism can transform a nation. The belief in the transformation of the image, the spirit, and the pride of the people was accomplished through travel and tourism. Your opening of today's conference sends a very clear message, as I said, of commitment of Cambodia to sustainable tourism and to cultural preservation. A very special word of appreciation to our sister organization, UNESCO. The partnership we have built together over years has now come to a very crucial milestone. Today's conference reflects well our close ties and our common vision on the transformative power of culture and tourism as a driver of a more inclusive and sustainable future. This is what culture and tourism is all about. It's about better future, serving people, sustainable development, and social progress. This kingdom of wonder, Cambodia, is indeed best-fitting description of Cambodia, a land filled with marvelous attractions, from World Heritage sites to smiles of wonderful people in the streets. Indeed, we could not have gathered in a most inspiring place, especially here in Angkor Wat, the crowning jewel of Cambodia, outstanding cultural heritage site, a heritage that every year inspires more and more visitors to come, to enjoy and to learn and to be inspired. Ladies and gentlemen, tourism, and particularly cultural tourism, has become a fundamental pillar of Cambodia's development, helping to position it in the world today as an emerging economy in Southeast Asia, creating thousands and thousands of jobs, stimulating infrastructure, contributing to nearly over $3 billion in terms of foreign currency exchange earnings. Cambodia is indeed a sheer example of how the links between tourism and culture can create new opportunities. Alongside its economic and social impact, tourism spurred Cambodia's cultural identity and pride in its own self. Every country in the world needs to stimulate its own pride and its own energy. Radiate global light in the archaeological wonders, its natural beauty, and its historical legacy. This is an example that is so befitting of our meeting. Mr. Prime Minister, dear friends, ladies and gentlemen, today's conference opens at a time of international tourism continues to grow in spite of still very severe economic constraints, uneven growth, geopolitical tensions, health pandemics, natural disasters. Still, tourism continues to grow. Just last week, we released the latest results of 2014, which shows that international tourism arrivals grew by 4.7% to reach a new record high never reached in history before. 1,138 million tourists crossed international borders in one single year. Ladies and gentlemen, that's 1 out of 7 of the people of the world making an international trip every year. This is a true age of travel. It's a revolution. Every year, more and more visitors enter into this pool, and tourism and travel has become not just a human need, but a human right. 2014 was also a milestone year for UNESCO and for culture, as World Heritage Site list reached 1,000 sites for the first time ever in history. Linking both facets together creates unprecedented development of cultural tourism over the years. Such development represents immense opportunities for destinations to foster economic growth, inclusive social development, and environmental preservation. I'd like to recall a good travel writer who said once, tourism can resuscitate and revive culture. It creates traditional dances in Bali, cause craftsmen in India to pay attention to their works. It reveals the inner spirit of us. In the world of today, where globalization has brought us together in our dreams and our aspirations, tourism brings the beauty of our diversity, of our differences, and makes us pay attention to who we really are. We may be different ethnic groups, producing different cultural manifestations, but we're one human race that inhabits this world. Along economic dimensions, therefore, cultural tourism nurtures a sense of pride among communities, advances public education, and promotes heritage preservation by providing financial resources and capabilities to do so otherwise unavailable. We take pride in what we have done in the travel and tourism industry, in this unprecedented growth. But, ladies and gentlemen, 1 billion tourists can be 1 billion opportunities or 1 billion disasters. It's all up to us. It's in our hands. As much as we welcome tourism growth and its benefits, we should never forget that such growth comes with increased responsibility. With growth and power, responsibility grows even bigger. Responsibility to protect our heritage, responsibility to promote our common values, and responsibility to work together in this small and united world. Indeed, partnership is a fundamental message at the heart of this conference. We need to bridge the gap if there is any. Despite encouraging efforts, we still have gaps between tourism and culture. We need to explore new governance models and innovative initiatives where the best out of the two worlds comes together and benefits us all. We do not need to look beyond Siem Reap to see an example and to grasp the weight of this challenge. Angkor Wat is a magnet for tourists. If we do not take up the cause of sustainability, we risk irreversible damage to this prized cultural treasure. Ladies and gentlemen, Secretary General Ban Ki-moon said once, transformation is our watchword. At this moment in time, we are all called to lead and act with courage. We are called to embrace change, change in our societies, change in our management of economies, change in our relationship, our one and only planet. 2015 is a historic moment for the United Nations, for countries around the world as we work to set new sustainable development goals. A shared and inclusive agenda that takes place and people at the center of its development. Human rights, peace, dignity for all. Ladies and gentlemen, the question now is how do we harness this sheer force of 1 billion strong for the immense value that it provides? How can we draw from the deep wellspring to benefit our cultural heritage and advance the post-2015 sustainable agenda? In thousands of years, mankind has progressed, civilizations flourished and fallen. They left behind us showcases, monuments, culture, tangible and intangible. Ladies and gentlemen, culture is the storyteller of our people, of our lives, of our history. And tourism is the publisher and the distributor of that story. The story must be shared and must be enjoyed. Without that, there is no meaning to all what we have left behind. We must do that responsibly, and we must do that in a way that reflects best on all of us. Let me, at the conclusion of this intervention, highlight 3 ways in which tourism and culture can work together to build a better future. 1, tourism and culture can work together for economic growth. The responsible use of cultural assets for tourism creates new employment opportunities, generates income for local community. By the same token, cultural tourism can provide a vital tool for poverty alleviation, as many poor and needy community in remote areas are often situated near very famous heritage sites. 2, tourism and culture can work for heritage protection and preservation. Being acclaimed as a World Heritage Site for greater responsibility. The minute a site is declared a World Heritage Site, it's an open invitation for people to come and visit. We live in an age of travel. Never before in history have we been more exposed to such melting pots of ethnicities, religions, and lifestyles. Tourism breaks down walls and builds bridges between visitors and hosts, nurturing respect and mutual understanding that is so much needed in the world of today. Anybody who had watched the news this morning would have been reminded how powerful the forces of darkness are and how big our challenge is to confront that. Ladies and gentlemen, the more people travel and immerse in other societies and navigate other languages, behold incredible moments and natural wonders, or experience firsthand the living traditions passed down by generation, the more they travel, the more they become part of a global dialogue that makes us citizens of the same world, citizens that understand and respect each other. We travel, we become better people. Ladies and gentlemen, amongst us is a very distinguished person, His Royal Highness Prince Sultan bin Salman, for many of you that may not know, was an astronaut and is a pilot now. In one good morning in the good capital of Riyadh, I was sitting with His Highness in his office, and I asked him how he felt when he looked at the world from so far away. He told me a story that's still in my head until now. He said the first day, all the astronauts there looked and tried to identify where their countries were in that big bowl. The second and third day, we stopped seeing that. We started to see the world as one, a bowl that is so small, so united, yet so rich of diversities and differences that we should all be proud of. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the thought that I would like to leave with you. I would like you to wish you a very, very successful conference, and thank you all for being with us this afternoon, this morning, and for the coming 2 days. And I must thank you, Mr. Prime Minister, for joining us in this very precious moment, this milestone. And please go out, enjoy this place, meet the people, talk to them, interact, act as good, responsible tourists, and be enriched by the wonderful experience of Siem Reap and the wonderful experience of Cambodia. I thank you very much. Ukon.